All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for the invitation and the introduction tonight, and thank you to the Bloomfield Library to for asking me to jump on this evening to share a really important topic that hopefully is not an important topic for you just at the beginning of the year, because I know yes we're here and January 2nd of 2024. And this is oftentimes when people think of goal setting, right? And New Year's resolutions and changing their whole life and the next day after tomorrow, right? But we want to make sure that we help you to put in place some systems and really develop some great habits and a mindset to really achieve your goals each and every single year. And not just each year, but we're going to talk about really about the importance of breaking down these goals that you have for yourself to, quarterly goals, to monthly goals, weekly goals, and then eventually to have success and achieve your goals on a day-to-day basis. Because we know if you achieve your daily goals, you'll automatically achieve your weekly goal. If you achieve your weekly goal, you'll achieve your monthly goal. If you achieve your monthly goal, you'll achieve your annual goal. And if you achieve your annual goals consistently, you'll achieve your life goals, right? So we want to really make sure that we break it down to the common denominator, right? Really the fundamentals, which is what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and how it impacts you long term. So let me go ahead and pull up my slides here so you can hopefully you guys follow along. And feel free for those of you who are live here. I know this is being recorded, but folks who are live, feel free. I know towards the end we'll have some time for some Q&A as well. But before I kind of jump into the topic on tonight, I'll share a little bit about my background and kind of what we're going to be sharing today with goal setting specifically. So again, my name is Kevin Palache, and my wife Rochelle and I, as you can see here in the picture, we are the parents of two incredible kids. My daughter Abigail, who's now officially a teenager, right? We got a 13-year-old in the house and a 9-year-old son, Alex, who do exceptionally well in school. We're so super proud of them. And the reason I always like to kind of share them when we talk about goal setting is because I think goals should really incorporate all aspects of your life, right? So hopefully when you think about goals, and the tendency for most people is just go straight to finances, right? Or maybe straight to wealth or develop an income. But for me, I like to focus on a more holistic approach, right? Because as you look at your life, you're much more than just your finances, right? You're much more than just your job. And so for me, everything I do is really centered around, family, right? So as it relates to goal setting and everything else, I really make it the foundation. So to find out more about kind of what we do, we have other workshops. We'll talk more about that later that we offer as well. You can go to our website, palachefamilysolutions.com. And so tonight we're going to talk about goal setting 101 and developing goals in 7 key areas for your personal and professional life here in 2024. And I'll, as we go through, kind of share some specifics and how have I incorporated these goal setting processes, throughout my life as well. So let's start with a philosophy, right? And we're going to see a couple of these as we go throughout the workshop today. And one of the things we realize is that people don't plan to fail; they simply fail to plan, right? So as we talk about, I talk with people who have different goals that they want to achieve in their life. And again, it could be the weight goals, right? The fitness goals, the financial goals, the family goals. Oftentimes we find that people obviously don't embark on that journey with the intent to fail, right? To not achieve their goals. No one ever said, man, what is the fastest, most efficient way for me to fail in this particular endeavor? No one ever says that, right? But they simply fail to plan out, the specific steps that they need to take to be able to achieve that goal. And so for those of you who are here on the actual Zoom, so we'll have you maybe type in the chat. What I'd like you to do is just to type in, maybe what do you look to learn, or what do you look to maybe get out of this particular workshop as it relates to goal setting, right? So go ahead and you can type it in the chat, or I think you're able to unmute, so if you feel more comfortable unmuting and simply, sharing, feel free to do that as well if you have the ability to do that. So I know Rachel hit on a key topic. We were actually talking about this before we even started, building the right habits, right, as it relates to goal setting. So goal setting goes but further beyond this kind of writing the goal down, doesn't it, right? How do you develop the right habits around that particular goal that you set for yourself, right? Anyone else? Well, we're going to see who the fast typers are here, right? So, but what are 2 words, what are some things you're looking to achieve, right, as it relates to goal setting, for this year? So feel free to type in the chat, or if you have the ability to unmute, you can unmute as well. So David said he wants a structure for goal setting, right? And we're gonna have some philosophies we're gonna share specifically about the importance of structure. How to follow through, right? So not just how to start, but how to finish, right? How to follow through. It's a little challenging starting a race and never finishing, isn't it? Right? You're there and you run halfway, and then you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop now, right? So how do we follow through and actually get to the finish line? So that's a great goal. Chanel, if I'm pronouncing it right, hopefully, says ways to stay on track. Very good. Ways to stay on track and motivated, right? So it's easy to get started and it's actually easy to finish. But one of the things that we've learned is the most challenging parts, right, of any goal, right, is having that self-discipline in the middle, right? It's when you've left the shore, right, and you're like, okay, that's exciting, right, right? Or maybe you're getting close to the shore where you're headed to. That's exciting. But in the middle, where there's this a vast abyss of nothingness, right? We don't know if are you heading in the right direction, maybe not. Maybe you should check your compass, right? And so ways to stay on track, right? That's great. Shirley says how to handle unexpected problems or roadblocks to reaching a goal. Perfect, right? Right. How to identify those problems. Sometimes we can know what they are in advance, right? Teach the value of goal setting for team and family. Wow. Imagine, right? If you have your whole team, right, that's focused on that. All right, Miss Annie Frazier. Awesome. Thank you for joining, Miss Frazier. All right, awesome. So let's talk a little about it. So today, we'll talk about really a couple of key things. What are goals, right? So let's make sure we're on the same page about what a goal actually is. Some philosophies on goal setting, and you'll see that throughout really our workshop today. What are SMART goals? Which, if you've been in any goal setting workshop, you're going to see this as a foundation, because it is the foundation of really setting your goals, is making sure you are actually setting SMART goals. And then we'll talk about some systems behind that. We talk about 7 key goal setting areas. And then we're going to talk about some, not only systems, but some action steps that you can take afterwards as well. So how many of us agree with this, right? If you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time, right? We all know that, right? If you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. How many of us have had one of those days where it seems like you're running and running and running, and at the end of the day, you're like, man, I didn't do anything. And you look at your calendar, there was nothing in your calendar. So you actually achieved your goal, right? Absolutely nothing, right? And so if you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. I think it was Zig Ziglar. He said, you can't hit a target that you don't have. So how do you first set that target, right? Let's identify what a goal is, right? It's the result or achievement toward which effort is directed, right? It's an aim or an end, right? So the key words here for me is, right, the result, right? So you're as a result of doing a certain level of activity, of putting forth some level of effort over an extended period of time, right? What is it that you're gonna get out of that, right? What is the result that you're looking for in your finances and your health, right? With your family and your relationships, right? And so that's, kind of obviously broadly what a goal is. Now, what are some kind of, things to keep in mind as it relates to goal setting, and, things I've seen over the years, some of these studies, Forbes magazine, right? They said that just 8%, can you imagine? 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. Now, I don't gamble, but if I did, right, and if I had to determine, like, okay, for this set of people, what percentage of them, or how likely it is that they're going to achieve their goal or their exact resolution they've set for themselves, those are not good odds, are they? Right? 8%, right, of people actually achieve their New Year's resolutions, right? So how do we make sure that we are a part of that 8%, right? So the folks here on the Zoom, and maybe people watching this via replay, it's not zero. Well, let's start there, right? So that means there is a chance. So what if you could find out what those 8% are doing to actually achieve their goals and duplicate what they're doing? I've always had the belief that, look, if someone else has had success in something and they're willing to take the time to teach me, then I could have the same, if not better, success, right? And so I focus on, hey, don't just focus on what successful people do, focus on how successful people think, because how they think ultimately determines what they do, right? And so how do you get to that kind of source code, if you will, right? Or the fundamentals of that right mindset? Dry research says 80% of New Year's resolutions are forgotten by midwinter. So it means that some of us, right, in a few months, someone will ask you just out of the blue, like, hey, what's your resolution for this year? And you're just going to just flat out forget. I think it was something related to finance. You might make something up on the spot, right? Which is a knee-jerk reaction, is save some money, right? Or pay off some bills, right? That's the knee-jerk reaction. But most people just simply forget that they even had or were striving to achieve a specific goal for that year. They're just kind of going about the day-to-day drudgery, right, of life. So one of the reminders I always have is that you can set goals at any time of the year. And we'll talk about this throughout, is that you want to eliminate annualized thinking, right? And this is out of the book, The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. I highly recommend it. It's like, should be required reading for anyone who is sincere about their willingness, right, to make sure that they're achieving their goals each and every single year. Some of you might see I have it like on my shelf here, like intentionally. You can see in my background on my bookshelf back here. So I like visually look at it as a reminder, like to forget about annualized thinking, forget about New Year's resolutions. It's like, no, what are you doing this week? What are you doing today, right, to achieve your goals over the next 12 weeks? It is a great time to start your first 12 weeks, right? For your 12-week year. Before setting any goals, you must understand and adopt the philosophy of what we call the compound effect. And this is simply understanding of that, any goal that you have, right, it's going to take a consistent level of activity over extended period of time to see the end result that you're looking for. So just understand that you're going to have to have some patience and understand it's going to take some time, right, to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. Develop routines around your goals to ensure it happens. And my philosophy is this: calendar your commitment, right? So calendar your commitments. So oftentimes you might hear someone say like, oh man, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to exercise more and really get more focus on fitness. And then the question then becomes, great, where is it reflected in your calendar? Because if I know, if, at least for me, if it's not in your calendar, it means that you don't even have an intent to try to do it. Oh, I want to spend more time with my family, with my loved one, with my children. Great. Where is that in your calendar, right? We have, like, for example, like a family night we do. Yeah, every Friday night is our Palache household, right? Is our family night. So it's reflected, and it's like not for it's to infinity, right? As long as I'm living, right? It's in the calendar every single Friday, right? It's family, unless you're traveling and things come up, but the intent is there, right? Every single week. So whatever it is that you are interested in, getting better at, right? Where is it reflected in your calendar? James Clear, I highly recommend this book, Atomic Habits. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I hope you get this, right? You do not rise to the level of your goals. So I want to be a millionaire. I want to be able to bench press 500 pounds, right? I want to be able to run a 4-minute mile, right? So we don't rise to that level, right? Those are great goals to have, yes. But what happens is you fall to the level of your systems. What are the systems that you have in place to help you to run that 4-minute mile, right? To help you to increase your bench press, right? To be able to help you to run farther or faster, right? To be able to save more, right? And so we got to make sure that we have specific systems, right? This is at the end of the day, what's going to determine whether or not any of us achieve our goals or not, right? Is by the systems that we have in place. And so this is a book by James Clear, Atomic Habits. I highly recommend it. This is going to help you goal setting outside of goal setting. Is going to help you just become more aware, right, of your habits, whether they're good or bad. I actually got an email, ironically, today from part of his email distribution list, and he actually mentioned that book, Atomic Habits, was #1 on Amazon for all of last year in all categories, right? And there's like a million categories, right? When you go to Amazon across all, there is a reason for that, right? And so obviously it's great because it shows that people understand and are able to identify that there's a need for them to really make their habits a study, right? To study their own habits, their own behaviors, and how to alter them over time. So definitely recommend that as well. I love this quote by Josh Billings. He says, be like a postage stamp, stick to one thing until you get there. Right. And so if any good postage stamp, right, you're not jumping around from envelope to envelope, right? Sticking to one thing. Says you look at your goals overall, right? The objective is to stick to that one thing, right? Be perseverant, right? Persist until you achieve, right? Until you get there. And so this, obviously SMART goals, we've seen it a lot of different places. This I'm pulling it right from Paul J. Myers. Your attitude is everything, but some of you have seen, different variations of this. And so let's see who's at least remembers, right? Hopefully, you know, it hasn't been a whole year since you've got a training on smart habits. What's the S in smart stand for, right? And so we can chat here. I'll send out resources. Gonna mention an email. Okay, yep. So Rachel mentioned she's gonna send out the email with the resources. So a lot of these books I'll mention, by the way, are available for free at your library. So the physical book, or if you have a Hoopla Digital, which I love, right? This is like the kind of similar to Audible for those of you who have like an Audible subscription, or if you have the Audible app. And so you'll be able to get access to it there as well, right? So David Bazemore, sorry, your specific, right? So that's the S in SMART. Yet your goal should be clear and unambiguous. And so just to kind of keep in line with what most people probably are focused on right now. So let's focus on the weight, right? You can do this with any goal, but it's easier to focus on that. So I want to lose some weight, right? That's great. But what's some? That's not a number, right? So is it 50 pounds? Is it half a pound, right? So specific is, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? So that's making that goal, right? Try to put a number to it, right? Try to put some, make it clear as possible. M, right? And so we're going to give you a chance to mention the next one. M, right, is measurable, right? So measurable. So if a goal is not measurable, it's not possible to know whether you are making progress towards successful completion. Now, the easy thing about a weight goal is absolutely measurable, isn't it? Right? You step on that scale and it's going to tell you exactly how you did, right? The consequences of the decisions you made from the day before and what you decided to eat or not eat, right? And so it has to be measurable. So you jump on that scale and it's either up a pound, down a pound, right? Up 5 pounds, down 5 pounds, wherever the case may be. Your bank account, that's easily measurable, right? You can log in like that. There it is, right? And so it's got to be measurable, whatever that goal is. So what's A? Who wants to guess what A is? Dun, 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 dun. I need to get that music. And it's okay. You can go ahead and try to think about it, right? So attainable. All right. Yes, absolutely, Rachel. Right, attainable. So the goals are neither out of reach nor below standard performance. I love what the way Zig Ziglar puts it. He said your goals should be out of reach, but not out of sight. Right? So whatever goals you have for yourself should be out of reach, meaning that you should have to get up to get it, right? It shouldn't be like something you can just, bear it, I got my goal accomplished. It's a little too easy, right? So it should be out of reach, meaning that you have to exert some effort to be able to achieve it, but it shouldn't be so out of sight that you don't even know what direction to walk in, right? And so attainable means that, again, it's out of reach, but not out of sight. And so attainable, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? That's an attainable, realistic goal, right? It's attainable, right? So it should be something that at least you feel is attainable, right? Maybe your goal ultimately is 30, but we said, hey, right now, I feel like I could really achieve 10, right? And so that's attainable. So that's maybe where you start. And when you get to that goal, you make another adjustment, right? R. So what's R? Oh, I guess we stumped some folks. I hope you guys are taking notes. If you're hearing this for the first time, especially, take notes, right? This is the foundation of all goal setting, right? Is making sure you're setting smart goals, right? Very important. All right. Thank you, Chanel, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Thank you. Right. Relevant, right? R is relevant, reachable, right? So that kind of ties into the attainable. But relevant means that you're choosing goals that matter to you. You're not choosing goals that matter to someone else, other family members, other friends, people in the community. They're relevant. And what that means, because they're relevant, they motivate you. They're excited. I think someone mentioned earlier, right, when they said, hey, what are some of the things they want to learn from this goal setting workshop, is how to stay motivated, right? And this is how you do it, right? Whatever that goal is, it needs to be relevant, right? It has to matter to you. And so sometimes you have to look at maybe the consequence of not achieving that goal might motivate you, right? So if you don't lose that 10 pounds or 15 pounds, and maybe you're doing it not just for looks, but maybe your doctor tells you, right, you need to lose X amount or you're going to be taking these medications for the rest of your life. That's relevant, that's something that will motivate you. Like, so whenever you feel like, hey, I'm gonna eat this, or I'm not gonna work out today, you take that doctor's note, right, or that prescription, you put up on the wall, and that'll be your motivation. Like, hey, this is why I'm working out each and every single day. This is why I'm eating right each and every single day, because I don't want this to be my reality for the rest of my life. That'll motivate you, right? And so maybe it's that, maybe it's a financial goals, but and maybe it's, hey, this credit card debt is overwhelming, right? And maybe that's, relevant to you, like just the peace of mind that you're going to feel when you get rid of that credit card debt. That's relevant, right? That'll keep you motivated. So whatever that is, that, or we like to say your why, but you want to keep that squarely in front of you to help to inspire you, motivate you to do the activity that you need to do and make the sacrifices that you need to make each and every single day, right? So R is relevant, and T, this is usually the easier one, right? All right, so what's T? See who the fast typers are. Going once, going twice. Time bound. My wife is on here. She got it. Timely. I know Deb said timely. Right. So time bound, meaning that there's got to be a deadline attached. Right. And why is that? Because it creates a sense of urgency. Because if I said, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, great. This year, right? This month, this week. Right. And so all of these things, right, tie in together, right? So specific, 10 pounds, it is measurable, right? I feel it's attainable. It's relevant because I want to feel better from a health perspective, be able to run around with my kids and play more, right? And because I have a specific deadline and a realistic deadline, right? The deadline has to be realistic as well. That ties into it, not just achieving the goal, but within a reasonable time frame. So to say, look, to lose 10 pounds in a week, right, is a lot less realistic, right, than being able to lose 10 pounds in 5 weeks, right? So I know they say like the average at most like 2 pounds a week is usually good to target, right? And so make sure you have a realistic deadline with what you have as well. So let's start looking at, some of the specific areas you could apply these SMART goals to, right? So Jim Rohn, he says, look, when the promise is clear, the price gets easy, right? So when the promise is clear, the price gets easy. So when you are really clear and understanding what your goal is and how you're going to feel, especially when you achieve that goal, the price you have to pay, there's sacrifices you have to make, there's meals that you may have to adjust, right? The workouts you have to do, the people you have to associate yourself with, right? The things you have to maybe avoid buying right now, right? Because you're trying to save or you're trying to pay off other bills, right? That gets easy when the promise is clear, right? When you think about, man, how it's going to feel, right, at your ideal weight, or being able to run further and faster than you have in the past, right? To be able to spend that quality time with your children, to be able to go on that vacation that you saved up for over 6 months, right? So when that's clear, that vision is clear, it becomes easier, right? So it's not going to be simple necessarily, right? It's still going to be some pain involved, right? Some sacrifice, but it becomes substantially easier the clearer your vision gets. So what's the importance of having written down goals? You're 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down. So when we talked about earlier, right, that, the 8%, right, the people achieve their goals, but more likely to be a part of the 8% if you actually are physically writing down your goals, especially if you're doing it on an ongoing, a regular basis, at least looking at your goals on a regular basis. Inc.com says writing your goals down not only forces you to get clear on what you want, right? Because again, it's not just kind of like, oh, let me just imagine, right? You're physically writing it down and describing in detail what you're looking to have. So not only forces you to be clear on what exactly it is that you want to accomplish, but doing so plays a part in motivating you to complete the task necessary for your success. Because it's now telling you where you need to step, what you need to do to achieve that goal. You took the time writing it. Now it's like, okay, how can I actually execute on this, right? How can I actually take these steps that I've set out to actually achieve those goals? So let's really break down the 7 key areas, right, of kind of goal setting, right, in your life. And this is from the book, and I've seen this variations of it over the years. This I first heard about, and I actually have it, kind of a little old and raggedy a little bit, right? But this is from what was it? Actually put the date 2007. I guess is the first time I read this book. But it's called The Power of Focus, and this is by Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. And the whole book is not about these areas. This just happened to be This is a section of the book when they were talking about focus and goal setting that really jumped out at me. And it's been a foundation of like my goal setting ever since. And these 7 areas, and in terms of creating a habit, so some people asked earlier some things they want to do, creating a system. And so my wife and I, the times that we've achieved goals the fastest is when we've gone over these goals the most consistent. We find that if we're not consistent with doing this, like, we'll still achieve some goals, but it just won't be as consistent as fast as when we actually get together. And especially when we're, planning for a wedding, when we're buying our house, like we were like every single week, we had it in our calendar to meet up specifically to talk about these 7 areas, right? And in terms of goal setting in our lives. And we'll have mutual goals that we put together as a family, right? And so these are the 7 areas. So number one, and as I'm going through this, feel free to jot down, what are some of your personal goals in these areas? So the first one is financial, right? And as we look at financial goals, and I'll actually have a printout here that I use just to give some examples of what some financial goals. This should be, maybe apparent to some of you, but it might be, hey, I will be credit card debt free, right? Maybe that's a financial goal. By X date, right? So put a date on it. Very important. I'll be mortgage free, right, by January of 2030 or 2040, right? So these are some examples, some financial goals. Hey, I am earning X amount of dollars per year by 2026, right? I will find a wealth mentor to advise me by March of 2024. So these are some examples, and you want to have reasons. Again, you want to make sure that you put some deadlines around it, but I'm just giving you some high-level examples of some financial goals. What about your career and business goals? So write some of those down. So if you're working at the job, maybe it's or your sales goals that you have at your job. Maybe if you have your own business, what are some business goals that you have? Some income levels maybe that you're looking to achieve. Maybe you're right now working as an employee, and maybe your goal is that you want to start a business, and you say, hey, look, I want to be able to, maybe it's a business you've had in your head for years, and you say, you know what, by the end of March, by March 15th, I want to form my LLC to start my own business, right? Maybe, hey, I'm finding a financial partner to invest $250,000 in my business. Maybe if you're an existing business owner, I will develop some new software for my company, right? So what are some career goals? It might be just as simple as, hey, I want to, again, meet with, some mentors at the job, right? So maybe at your job, you say, look, there's some people in some positions that I would really love to hear their story and how they got to those positions. So maybe your goal will be, hey, I want to meet with 1 or 2 people who are at a particular level in my company to find out, to hear their story and how they got to where they are. Right, so that might be one of your goals for career and business. Number 3 is fun time. Can you believe it? It's actually a goal, right? And so this is key, right? Restoration, right? Revitalization, right, is an important part, right, of goal setting. We're not machines, and even machines need downtime. So if even machines need downtime, right, for maintenance, right, to get the oil change, all these things, but we as human beings, right, we need to have some time, right, to rest and recharge. So fun time, this could be vacations that you're planning for maybe yourself, or maybe you and a spouse or a sibling or a parent or another loved one. It might be just different trips. It might be a weekend trip that you're looking to go on. Maybe sports that you're looking to play, or maybe going to see something live, special events in person. Maybe you have a certain amount of time that you want to take off, right, each and every single year. How many weeks off do you want to have off? So I know for us, again, for fun time, we do our family nights every Friday night. My wife and I, we do date nights, every Saturday night. So again, what are some of the things that you could do to systemize it, right? To make sure, and again, all these different things we're talking about, we've got to make sure it's reflected somewhere in your calendar. And by the way, as we go through these 7 areas, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're given 100%. It's not possible to give 100% in all these areas each and every single day. It might be some days that for family time, it might be 10, 15 minutes, conversation with your children, right? For family or fun time, right? And then maybe it's on the weekend where you have a lot more time available, right, to spend more time with them. So it might not necessarily be that, you're doing 100%. It's not possible to be 100% in all these different areas, but it's just making sure that you're cognizant of the importance of paying attention to these areas so no one area gets neglected for an extended period of time. Right. So a fun time could be, hey, I want to take a 1 week vacation in June to the Bahamas. Right. Maybe that's a goal, right, with my family. Hey, I'm organizing a family reunion for my family in 2025. I'm going on a 2 week hiking tour. So, these are some examples of some things for fun time. Number 4, right, is health and fitness. So write down some of your health and fitness goals. So these are easy, right? So easy to say at least. Right? So maybe say you want to lose weight. Maybe you're in a position you want to gain some weight. Maybe it's exercise programs, nutritional habits, medical, sports, maybe it's martial arts, things that you want to do for health and fitness. Maybe you want to get a personal trainer. You say, you know what? I've been trying to do this by myself for too long. I need to invest. But I need to invest in a professional, personal trainer. And maybe let me do that for 3 months. And let me see if by the end of 3 months, I could develop the right habits of working out and eating right so I can maintain it on my own after that. Right. So that might be one of your health and fitness goals, right? To invest in a personal trainer might be an example, right? So a goal here might be, hey, I'll be on my ideal weight of X pounds, 165 pounds by February 21st, right, of this year, 2024. I'm running 40 minutes per day, 4 times per week, by, April 2nd. I'm starting Tai Chi, right, or some other martial arts. So you get the idea, right? So maybe it's a yoga class that you want to take. So write it down. Number 5, relationships. So write down. So again, as we're going through this right now, hopefully in your notes, you just really quickly, whatever comes to mind first, writing down some of your specific goals for yourself. Relationships, number 5. So it might be family relationships that you want to maybe foster, right? Maybe with a spouse, children, maybe with your parents. Maybe you haven't talked to a parent in a while, and maybe they're a long distance from you, and you don't get a chance to see them often. So you say, you know what? I want to call my mom. I want to call my dad, right, every Sunday night, right, and put that in your calendar, reoccurring every Sunday night, no matter what. I'm going to call this particular family member. Maybe it's personal. Maybe it's friends, local, long distance. Maybe they're mentors of yours that you want to foster that relationship. Maybe it's a business goal, strategic alliances, mentors, partners, clients, staff, right? So what are some of the business goals or relationships that you want to foster, right? So I will call my sister, Gloria every week, right? Every Saturday as an example, right? I'm developing 6 clients for my new business, right? I will set up a personal mastermind group, right? So those are some examples of things you could do to foster relationships. Number 6 are your personal goals, right? And these are anything that you want to personally want to have, be, or do. So it might be, for example, education. So maybe some courses that you want to take, professional speaking courses. Maybe you want to, join the Toastmasters in your area to work on yourself personally. Maybe it's consulting, maybe reading some specific books, right, each and every single month this year. You say, hey, you know what? I want to really get better at my time management skills. I want to really get better at my finances. And so every single month, I want to read 1 book on finances. So that might be a personal goal that you have. And it kind of ties into a little bit financial too, but this is like personal growth is what we focused on here. It might be spiritual, right? Courses, Bible study, relationships, retreats. So it might be something you do for your own personal like peace of mind, right? So attending maybe a major concert maybe helps you, right? Hanging out with friends, completing a 10-week public speaking course or workshop, reading 4 books that will increase your spiritual awareness, right, by August 31st. So I'm just giving you some examples, but what are some of your personal goals that you have for yourself? And last but least 7 is contribution, right? So this is charitable, community. It might be mentoring others. So it's not just financial necessarily. You might not just give back in terms of money, but you might give back in terms of time, right? So how are you contributing to the community? Maybe it's church, right? Again, maybe it's a mentoring group. So examples that they give here, I will mentor a high school student 1 hour per week starting, July of 2024. I will tie 10% and donate, to either charity or church. I will volunteer to help with the annual United Way campaign. right? Or Habitat for Humanity once a quarter, right? So again, these are just different ideas, right, that you can utilize for contribution from that standpoint. So go ahead, and if you feel comfortable, feel free to go ahead and type in the chat what you would like to accomplish. Just looking at these goals, pick one or two, or maybe type in the chat, right, whatever you feel comfortable with sharing with the group, what your goal is in that particular area. I know Rachel says join a book club, attend the library program, sign up for a tech class, use the library app, right? So again, these are some great, personal goals, professional goals as well. And so one of the things that we realize is that setting goals is the first step, right, in turning the invisible into the visible. So now that you've set the goals, that's great, right? So you have it written down. That's a major component, right? We already talked about it, 40% plus more likely just by writing it down. So hopefully you took the time to do that. By the way, and I forgot to mention this earlier to Rachel, but we do have this in a bookmark. Like this, what you see here on the right is an actual bookmark, which I have here. For folks who are at the Bloomfield Library, Rachel, just remind me, please. I'll drop by. And so if you actually stop by your local library, you'll see. And I love the quote here. It says, "If you can believe, you can achieve." Right. So obviously you have to have that belief in your goal. But then on the back of it, and the way to utilize it, it actually has exactly what you see here on the screen: your financial, career, fun time, health, fitness, relationship. So the goal is, as your and some people, it could be your physical book that you're reading, that you have the bookmark. So every day, hope you have the habit of reading every day. You take a glance or a gander, right, of what your goal is, and you say, okay, great, this is my financial goal I'm working on, right, these next 12 weeks, right? This is my career business goal I'm working on for March 31st. Fun time, health, relationship. So every single day, right, you're looking and you're reminding yourself of what your goals are. Another option that we have is an actual worksheet that's also available, which I'll share in a second. So this is what I talked about earlier. Brian Moran, he says, discard annualized thinking and watch what happens, right? So get rid of annualized thinking. Don't even think about the end of the year. And he doesn't like talk about quarters, right? Because a quarter is a quarter of something, right? Of a year, right? So he's like, eliminate all together. It's just 12 weeks. All that exists in a calendar right now is the next 12 weeks, basically until, let's call it end of March, right? That's all that it exists, right? So it's really, obviously a little more than that, but using it as a framework, you can then start to really set more condensed goals and timeframes. So here with the goal worksheet, and I'll send this to you via email. So I'll have a slide that I'll put up towards the end where you can actually type in your email address to actually request to get this actual goal setting worksheet. So basically, this is what what it looks like. Same thing here on the screen. But it's just a great way that you could actually have it, because the major issue that people have is that they write their goals down and they never look at them ever again. So the goal here is whether, you got to have a physical way to either see it here. Some people take a picture of this and they just put it in their calendar on their phone or their device, and it's just something they look at every single day to remind them of what their goals are. This goal setting worksheet, you could put it up on your wall. What I usually recommend, like right in your bathroom, right? You're brushing your teeth and you look off to the side or maybe the side of your mirror, and you're just looking at, okay, great, my financial goals by the 31st are career and business goal, my fun time goals, my health and fitness goals. So every single morning when you wake up, and at least every night when you go to bed, you're getting reminding over and over and over again about what your goal is. So with the actual worksheet, what you're doing is putting what the goal is here. So I'm just going to do this one as an example. But let's say the financial goal is save $1,000. So if you listen, Dave Ramsey, he's got a lot of books on, obviously, on finances. So one of the baby steps he mentioned is save $1,000. Like, so if you don't have $1,000 for like an emergency fund that's saved up right away, that you have a bit access to right away, that's like a basic goal, right, for finances. So maybe the financial goal is here. Hey, I want to save $1,000. And all these deadlines, by the way, you see here, we're going to say March 31st, right? So we're going to say 12-week year by the end of March, every single goal. Now, obviously, you might have bigger goals by the end of the year, but that doesn't matter, right? Right now, all we're looking at, we're condensing it down, right, to the next 12 weeks, right? So for the next 3 months, right, end of March, these are the goals you want to accomplish. So let's say your financial goal is $1,000. What are some action habits, right? And notice I was going to put action steps. I was like, no, I want to focus on habits, because this is what we're talking about, right? You want to create lifelong habits that help you get better at finances, that help you get better at career and business, that help you get better at fun time, that help you get better at health and fitness, right? So what are your long-term habits you're looking to develop? So one example here might be set up an auto transfer of $70 a week, right? So that might be a habit, and you could actually automate that. You could actually automate that with pretty much every bank, where you can say, look, I want $70 to go from this account to this account every single Friday, and you set it and forget it. And I didn't mean to put an extra E here. I'm just noticing. I'm like, why does that look worksheet, right? So yeah, yeah. so just imagine that extra E is in there. I'm like, how did that happen? Okay. So again, you want to make sure that you have that deadline in there. But then again, what are the habits you're looking to create? So it might be $70, every week that you're looking to save up. I would like to add, maybe it's a book that you like to read on that particular, in one of these particular areas. So like if you say, you know what, I don't even know how to set financial goals. I don't even know what I should be focused on, right? Which is a reality. Like if you didn't read that book by Dave Ramsey and know about the baby steps, you wouldn't know that, hey, I should have at least $1,000 sitting in an account, right? And then I should focus on 3 to 6 months, and I should pay off my credit card bills, and you save up for retirement. So you wouldn't have that structure, that game plan at all if you didn't get the information first. So for some of us, it might be, yes, maybe some easy things you need to do, like pay off the credit card debt, right? That might be something that you need to focus on. But it might be like read a book on finances, might be one of the goals. By the end of March, I'm going to read this book on finances. There's a good one that's also available at the library. I didn't write down the author, but it's called The Index Card, right? But it's called The Index Card. And it's literally in the book is a picture of an index card, and it's related to finances. That's how you know. It'd be pretty apparent when you see it. Right? It's specific to finances. So maybe that's a financial goal. Now, here's where you put the result, because we're going to hold ourselves accountable. So we set the goal, we put the deadline. What happened next? How do we do at the end of March? So it might be the result in that case like that. Maybe it wasn't 1,000, maybe you got to $800, right? So that was the result. And now for the next 12-week year, right? So if we go on April, May, June, for example, right? Then you'll say, okay, great. Now my goal is not just 1,000. I'm almost there. My goal is 1,500, or my goal is 2,000 or 3,000, right? For the next 12-week year. So you're breaking it down, right, by every 12 weeks. So what is the result? Maybe you shot for 1,000, but you actually got 1,200 because you got some extra bonus come in from work or wherever the case may be, and you put it on top of that goal to accelerate the process. Right. So maybe for some of you, fun time, right? Might be, hey, I want to spend time with my family and friends. And again, the action habit might be schedule family night every Friday night or Thursday night or Wednesday, whatever works for you personally, right? Schedule date night, if you have a spouse, every Saturday or Wednesday, right? It doesn't matter, right? But you hope you get the gist here. And maybe the deadline is like this week, right? That's something that right away you can get a win right away, because now you're creating that as a habit. And now as a result, you can say, look, at the end of 3 months, right, at a 12-week year, how many times did we go on date night? Right? How many times did we have family nights? So you can see how well you're doing and keep that habit going beyond that, right? So hopefully you guys get the gist here. So you want to do that with each and every single area that you have on here, right? So feel free to keep typing in the chat. Health, fitness, learn how to do chair yoga. So I know Annie says she wants to do chair yoga because of health issues, right? So again, that's motivation right there when you do have a health issue, that, man, like I want to make sure that I could overcome this particular health issue. So I got to make sure I'm doing my chair yoga every day or every 2 days or whatever is recommended by your personal trainer, right? Or physical therapist, right? Rachel put in the chat the index card by, was it Helene, if I'm pronouncing it right, Olin, right? So you can see that in the chat. So if you want to get that book specifically on finances, that's where you can find it. And so again, with the worksheet, you can feel free to send me an email, I'll send that to you as well. So the distance between your dreams and reality is called action, right? So again, we've got the dreams, we've got the goals. Now it's time to go to work, right? So actually put in some time and effort to achieve those goals. So number one, what I'd like you to do, this is homework assignment. Yes, did you know you're going to get homework tonight, right? So your homework assignment, number one, right, is to block off time to schedule goals. To schedule your goals in each area of your life tonight. Don't even go to bed. Like I want you to, it should be something that should come to you naturally, right? Without hardly even thinking about it. You should know right away that, man, I want to achieve this particular goal as it relates to finance, as it relates to my health, as it relates to we all know, like there's something top of mind right now. You're like, man, I need to really get this taken care of. I really need to get this goal accomplished, right? So block off that time tonight if you can, and at least just start the process, right? Here's the thing we understand. Procrastination is the assassination of your destination. right? I'll say it again. Procrastination is the assassination of your destination, right? The worst thing you can say is, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow, which we know, all of us know, that means never, right? It's not going to happen, right? So the best thing you can do is have that sense of urgency and say, look, I'm going to do it now, right? I'm going to do it today. Let me just get over it. Look, I'd rather you have it done and be done maybe 50% of the way than not done at all, right? So just do what you can. 2, schedule time to review these goals daily, not weekly, not bi-weekly, definitely not by the year, right? Every single day. And how do you do that? Very easily. Like if you're using the goal worksheet, if you're stop by the library, the Bloomfield Library, and pick up one of these, right? Every single day, you can look at it. You don't have to study for an hour. I'm talking about like 2-3 minutes, that just going through as a constant reminder of what your goals are in each and every single area of your life. Here's some recommended books and audios. And I know many, if not all of these, I know Rachel looked at in advance, are available. So you can just literally just go right online and be able to either download it. So if you have Hoopla, a lot of times you can get like the actual book or ebook version of it that's available. Or again, you have it on Audible, not Audible, audio version if you're using Hoopla digital as well. So I love Hoopla because it gives you just so many different options. And I was shocked at like really the inventory of books that are available right there through your library, right? And they're all available for free. All you need is, guess what? A library card, which last time I checked is still free, right? A lot of stuff costs money nowadays, but the library card, thank God, right, it's still free, right? So the 12-week year by Brian Moran, Smart Goals Made Simple, right? Another one by S.J. Scott. You've got The One Thing, my goodness, by Gary Keller. That's another really awesome book, right? And he says, look, what's the one thing which by doing it will make everything else easier or necessary, right? And so that's what you see on the goal worksheet. It's not like 50 different steps or habits for each one. It's like 1 or 2, because we know, man, if you just do this one thing, if all you did was just work out every single day, right, or 5 days a week, that one thing will make the biggest difference based on your health, right? So if all you did was, stop buying Starbucks every day and do it like once a week instead, that one thing, right, could add some more money, right, to your bank account, right? So powerful. The Power Focus, as I mentioned, by Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. So again, talking about the importance of being consistent over time. And last but not least, right, the #1 book, I guess, of the year, right, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Surprise, surprise, right? So very, very important books that, again, you could pick up and available for, I think pretty much all of these are available for free from your local library, right? So those are some of the books that I recommend to kind of continue your journey as it relates to goal setting. And so that's our workshop, guys. So we'll open up for a couple quick questions or comments. And right here at the end, this has my contact information here. So feel free to reach out, any questions, anything that's shared. So we do these workshops, again, on goal setting. We actually have a separate one that we do specifically on time management. So especially for people like myself that, maybe you have kids, or, you got your family, you've got a business to run, your job to, to do different things that you're juggling. We do a time management workshop. We do one specifically on personal development. This has been huge. Absolutely changed my life, right? The importance of personal development. I know when I graduated from UConn, I thought to myself, I'm never going to read another book, right? Because it was all, the textbooks, and man, it absolutely changed my life. When I started just reading books on my own in specific areas that I wanted to get better in. I mean, it'd be a completely different person if it wasn't for personal development. So very important. So I actually do a workshop, just kind of explain the importance of personal development. I would do a will preparation workshop. Some of you know I'm the regional vice president for Legal Shield here in Connecticut and upstate New York and Rhode Island. And essentially what that does, it gives our members the ability to get access to attorneys for less than $30 a month, right? So people could get access to getting their wills prepared, help with consumer issues, landlord-tenant matters, things of that nature, and really giving people peace of mind. So I actually do workshops and seminars educating people in the community about those services that we offer as well. And so feel free to reach out. So if you have any questions on anything that we shared on today, what I'll do, I think if I copied it properly, I could put it in the chat. If you do have a phone, there's a QR code that is on your screen that you can just simply should be able to just open up your camera, and what it'll do, it'll actually go straight to the actual survey. So I'd love to get your feedback. So basically the survey has like 4 questions primarily. What is one thing that you learned from today's event? And then if you do want to get the goal setting worksheet, just let me know. You can type your email there and you'll get an email with the actual worksheet. And if you do want to get more information about other workshops that we offer, you can indicate that as well. So with that, Rachel, thank you again so much. And I've got probably like another 4 minutes here before I have to jump off, but I'll turn it back over to you, or if anyone has any questions, or again, feel free to keep typing your goals. I see some people typing in the chat, but feel free to type that in the chat, or you can open up as well. So thank you so much, guys. So much success to you in 2024, but not just 2024, this week, right? Tomorrow, each and every single day, right, is their own separate day, right? And you have success in that moment. And guess what? You wake up tomorrow, you get a fresh start. So regardless of what happened today, you get a fresh start tomorrow. So with that, we'll turn it over to you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Kevin. This is a lot for people to, grasp in terms of, lots of great resources. And I just wanted to mention, if there is ever a time that you come to the library, you ask for a book and our copy is checked out or you're not able to get it, we can request it from any other public library and have it sent to us for you to pick up. So that is no problem. We have access to every public Connecticut library. We all work together to get you the resources you need. So don't think you have to pay for anything. If it's not there, we will get it for you. Does anybody have any general questions after listening to the presentation?
Or if anyone has any tips on things that you've personally done to help you in achieving your goals, we'd love to hear that as well.
And Kevin, you said you could drop off the bookmarks to us?
Yeah, yep. So yeah, I actually have a bunch of these bookmarks. So
okay.
I should be able to do it. If not tomorrow, then by Thursday I'll have them. And I don't know if you read the one that by MetLife at the.
Yeah, just whoever's at the desk, just tell them.
Okay,
just let them know. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Any questions? We have a thank you here in the chat. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. This will be on our YouTube channel. So if you missed it or you want to share it with somebody else, you'll be able to get it there. So I'll send up a follow-up email with the link to the recording and the resources. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming. Thank you, Kevin, for spending time with us this evening and giving us all these great resources and tips and information. We really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Rachel. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you, sir.